Can you help me to reach 999 subscribers? In the busy streets of Shinjuku City, Yushin asks if he has started precision strike training. Yoichi was holding his phone, and Yushin explained to him that if he mastered precision, he would be able to break through techniques at a high school level. He disagreed about it, since it isn't the time to be impressed. He asked why he didn't tell him about the existence of these personal techniques. Yushin informed him that he hadn't reached that level yet. He advised him that trying to master a personal technique without a solid foundation is reckless. He reminded that he must remove his collar first, since someone was going to teach him a technique. He agreed, but he demanded that Yushin at least teach him precision strikes. He explained that his body was weak, and they only had 2 years to train him up to entrance-level strength. He reminded that everything has an order to it, and Yoichi understood it since Yushin always knows how to wrap things up neatly. He asked where he was right now, and Yoichi revealed that he had an appointment at Shinjuku. He asked who he was with, and Yoichi explained it was a classmate since she kind of forced him into it, and he didn't have a choice. Yushin stated that based on his long explanation, and asked if it was a date, and Yoichi denied it. He explained that once she decided on something, there was no stopping her and he couldn't say no due to certain circumstances. He revealed her name was Umi, and Yushin was shocked upon hearing Umi's name. He asked if she had blue hair, and Yoichi was surprised and asked if he knew her. He demanded to reveal her first name, and Yoichi stated that her name was Natsume Umi. He was left speechless, as he knew what background Umi had. He called him and checked his phone to see if Yushin was still there. He advised that he must be careful with Umi, and it would be best not to get involved with her. He was confused and asked Yushin why, while Umi's hand was reaching Yoichi's earphone. He stated that he didn't know why Umi was in Class A, but Yoichi noticed that Umi was already there. Umi held his earphones and greeted Yoichi. She apologized to Yoichi for keeping him waiting, and Yoichi realized that his earphones had gone. He explained that Umi used to be the head of Tokyo's capital society, and is now the boss of Tokyo's new one group, which she was the eldest daughter of Natsume Kaido. She observes that Yoichi was wearing casual clothes, which changes his vibe. She thanked him for showing up, while Yushin informed him that Umi was close to Chairman Mikado. He warned that Umi was a high-risk individual, while Umi stated that they should have a great day today. He started to feel suspicious of Umi and wondered why Umi approached her from the start. They headed into a restaurant, where on the table had a lot food on there. Umi was excited as she took pictures of it, since she rarely gets Italian food in the dorm, and Yoichi felt awkward since it was the first time seeing Umi act like that. Umi announced that they should start eating. As Umi started to eat, she felt delighted and amused by the food she was eating. Umi stated that she was delighted about the food she was eating, since she was eating dog food and high-protein stuff. Yoichi thought about what Yushin had said earlier as he didn't expect that Umi was not an ordinary girl. After they had eaten, both of them went shopping and played at the arcade game. Both Yoichi and Umi wander around the town and watch drunk people fighting. So they decided to eat a meal again where the plate was already empty. He was surprised that the pasta was already gone while Umi was already full. He reacted that Umi eats way too fast, and Umi announced that the real deal starts now. Umi called the waitress and ordered a special dessert while the waitress instructed her to place her order using the tablet. As Umi checked the tablet, she was surprised they had a lot of cake and couldn't choose. He pondered if Umi was the real daughter of the capital society's chairman and started to doubt it. Yoichi think about something that would clear and explain everything. As he recalled the time that Umi gave her the source of Class B's information, Yoichi knew that Umi's father was a member of the new one group, and he wondered if his father was Mikado's aide, and if Umi could get all the info she wanted. Umi asked if he wanted a bite, or should they order another one, and Yoichi rejected her offer as he didn't like sweets after all. Umi clarified that she would not be able to share it if he asked for it later, and Yoichi agreed. As the sun goes down, while they're walking, Umi suddenly asks how many people are in his family. She explained that to get even closer, they must know more about each other and tell them all sorts of things about themselves. Yoichi stated that all of his family was dead, which made Umi feel awkward. She quickly apologized, and Yoichi told her not to worry since it was in the past and it doesn't bother him anymore. Umi insisted that she was really sorry about it while a man noticed them from a distance. The man spoke up and called Umi a capital society, which made both of them stop and be surprised. The man asked what she was doing in this place, and Yoichi knew those men in front of them. The two men were the top candidates for Class B, from Kyushu South Wind Society's Ukyo Jin and from Hokkaido, White Knight Society's Shiratani Io. Jin walks closer, pointing out that Yoichi was from Class A and also the class representative as he called Yoichi. He teased Umi, saying she was dating quickly after enrolling, and asked why girls always choose these herbivore types. He asked Umi if Yoichi could be the one to satisfy her while Umi was glaring at him. He compared himself to Yoichi, saying that physically and sexually better than him. Jin stated that on the bed it is better to go with a carnivore than a herbivore, while Shiratani called Jin. Shiratani informed him that he was completely ignored as Umi slowly walked away, and Jin got infuriated. Jin quickly turned around and warned her that if she kept messing around he would make her understand with force. But Umi didn't pay much attention to him, which infuriated Jin even more, and he decided to expose her. Jin exposed to her that she grew up around a bunch of defective guys and had no taste for men, which made Umi infuriated. Jin mocked her that she was born under an unlucky star and called her pathetic. Jin expressed that he might be the one who could accept her past as Umi swung her arms as she tried to slap him. Umi got infuriated as she was glaring at Jin. Jin dodged her slap as he was holding her hand, saying her expression was full of frustration, and suggested that she must blame her own fate. Jin told her not to be more confident, reminding her she was from Class A and he was from Class B and there was no way she could beat him. Jin suggested that she must accept her fate as a hand swung towards them. Turns out it was Yoichi who separated Jin's hands from Umi's hands, using force. Jin was shocked and asked what he was doing. Yoichi stated that even from an objective point of view as her classmate and as the class representative of Class A, Yoichi informed Jin that he doesn't like him, and Jin got infuriated after hearing it. Jin was glaring at Yoichi and Umi. Jin mocked Yoichi, saying he felt strange as he heard a complaint coming from a guy walking around outside since his hearing should be perfectly fine. Yoichi chuckled, stating that if Jin could hear his voice then his ears were probably working fine. Yoichi stated that he might have made it a bit too complicated. He teased Jin, calling him a monkey who could only chase after girls, while Jin got even more infuriated. Shiratani called Jin out, suggesting he must stop since he was the one who started it. Shiratani reminded him that if he could cause trouble off campus he would be expelled. He gritted his teeth due to anger and couldn't fight his rage towards Yoichi. He agreed with Shiratani, stating he got a point, while Yoichi maintained his composure. He quickly turned around, stating there's no way he was getting expelled over some weakling like Yoichi. Yoichi still keeping an eye on him. But then Jin already decided and he quickly punched Yoichi. Yoichi quickly reacted and blocked his attack using his arm. Jin told him that they were no longer near school. Yoichi knew exactly what he meant. He jumped on him and swung his arm, saying he didn't care who found out. Jin continuously attacked him and Yoichi managed to dodge his attacks. It was about to hit him on the chest, but luckily for Yoichi he managed to block it again. Because of that strong attack, Yoichi was pushed away. He was surprised by Jin's technique and pondered what that was. As he started to attack again, Yoichi was curious if he was adding spin to his technique. He quickly struck at Yoichi, but he managed to dodge it again. He attacks him again with a wind technique, and Yoichi understands his power since he was part of the South Wind Society. Yoichi notices that his attack was powerful as he had already learned about precision strikes. He could see the point where each of Jin's strikes headed. He evades it and creates distance as he steps back. He targets Jin's impact point and counterattacks by hitting Jin on his lower jaw. Jin quickly steps back as he feels that strong impact on his head. Yoichi was glad it landed clean and his training was already paying off. However, he felt unsatisfied, while Jin was surprised by his attack. He notices that he was focusing on the destination and not putting real force behind the hits. Jin asked if he was making fun of him, and Yoichi stated that he hadn't fully mastered it yet. He was surprised and got even more infuriated as he froze for a second. He called Yoichi a bastard, while Shiratani knew it was the one thing that Jin hated the most. He threw his jacket on the ground, saying Yoichi was a Class A nobody. Yoichi prepared himself for another fight while Umi was left frozen in shock. With a strong aura flowing on his body, he asked if he used him as a training dummy for an unfinished technique. He told Yoichi that no one ever disrespected him this much, and he's not letting that slide. As he swung his arms, stating he would kill Yoichi with his South Wind's Dokugi, Umi reacted, saying his techniques were way too much, and asked if he was serious about killing someone. Yoichi walks closer to him and Umi suggests ignoring him as they need to leave this place. But he didn't listen. Instead, he assured Umi not to worry, which she was surprised. He knew when they charged head-on like that, it worked to his advantage. He recalls the time when he was training with the dummies. Yoichi sat down on the floor due to exhaustion. Chino complimented that he was doing better than he thought. He turned around and called Chino, asking some questions. He asked if, in real combat, the opponent wouldn't stand still like training dummies, and what he should do when the opponent is moving widely. Chino stated that he must think of baseball, which might help him visualize it. He taught Yoichi to imagine that he was the batter, a fastball's a fastball, a curve's a curve, and he needed to read the ball's trajectory. He reminded him that it was the same as actual fighting. In the present, Yoichi knew he could defeat Jin using what Chino had taught him. As the wind flows into his fist, called Namikaze, and he observes that Jin's was the curveball. His eyes were glowing as he approached Yoichi. Yoichi realized that he was the batter in their fight. He raised his hand as he needed to stay poised, no matter that he must read its trajectory perfectly. Jin was approaching at full speed and Yoichi was already locked in on himself. As he dodges his attack, Yoichi immediately counters it and swings his fist towards its face. Yoichi landed a clean hit on its face, and with just one strike, he had already defeated Jin. Jin has fallen on the ground helplessly. Yoichi was looking at him while Umi and Shiratani were both shocked. Shiratani couldn't believe his dokugi, and Umi was surprised as well. Neither of them could imagine that Yoichi defeated him in a single blow. Jin gritted his teeth as his body shook due to the strong impact of Yoichi's attack. He tried to stand up and threatened Yoichi not to move since their fight wasn't over. He called Yoichi a bastard and told him that the real fight was starting. He insisted on ordering him to get him a knife, but Shiratani held his hands, trying to stop him. Shiratani couldn't hold on any longer and decided to put him to sleep, hitting his neck using his elbow. He was disappointed at Jin, while Yoichi and Umi were confused. Shiratani apologized for Jin's attitude, and guessing about the upcoming exchange event got him all worked up. Shiratani apologized again, and Yoichi guessed that Shiratani's friendship with him was a reasonable one. Jin suddenly coughed, and Shiratani hoped that he'd go a little easier on him. Shiratani bids farewell to them and slowly walks out of the place. But he stopped and told him he almost forgot to say something. Shiratani thanked him, and Yoichi was confused as he asked what. He explained that he thought the exchange event was a complete waste of time and looked down on Class A. He complimented Yoichi's ability to do, and he was kind of looking forward to it, which couldn't let his guard down either. As they leave, he suggests that he keep sharpening his skills until the day comes and not disappoint him. Yoichi and Umi were left speechless. He asked Umi if she was surprised. Umi explained that she was just standing and doing nothing, and that she should be the one worrying about him. So she complimented him, saying he was amazing, and he shifted his attention to her. She was amused that he beat Jin without using special techniques. She looked at her hands with bruises, stating that Jin grabbed her arm and she couldn't even move after that. She felt anxious as she clenched her fist. She realized and felt sad at the same time. She reminded Yoichi that they were gonna late for curfew and they needed to head back soon. As the night came, while walking, Umi thanked him for what he had done earlier. She stated that she didn't expect the incident since it happened so fast, and quickly apologized for dragging him into that mess. Yoichi assured her not to worry, and confessed that he was wondering about the list she had given her before. He remembered that Jin specialized in bladed weapons, and Umi agreed since it was written in there. She explained that since they were a kid, dokugi drilled into them one by one and chose the one that best for them. She stated it takes a lot of time, and Jin ended up choosing the bladed weapon dokugi in the end. He knew that during the exchange event, Jin might not fight bare-handed like earlier. He quickly shifted the topic and asked if there was something between them. Umi chuckled and explained it's because she made a bit of a name for herself in this world. She clarified that her dad was the past president of the Capital Society, that even now after it was merged into a new one, she still gets people picking fights with her like that. She understood that some people didn't like the Capital Society, and she stopped telling people about her dad or the Capital Society at all. She confessed that she had the hardest part about the situation in the Capital Society. She expressed that she hates the Capital Society in this world, which surprised Yoichi. He asked why she hated it, and Umi awkwardly stated that she shared too much. To avoid suspicion, she walks faster and requests that he pretend that he didn't hear it. She assures Yoichi that she would be fine, and nothing to worry about it. He observes that something was off as he looks from a distance. He stated there was no way he could pretend that he didn't hear that, which made Umi stop. He explained same goes for earlier and even now. He knew didn't look fine at all, and Umi slowly turned around as her facial expression had changed. He begged to talk to her and what had been hurting her. Umi told him to stop, and Yoichi was surprised by her reaction. She couldn't hold it any longer as she started to act weird and couldn't believe what Yoichi was doing. She didn't know what to do, and told him that he had thought of her as a friend. She reminded him that he was the one who said he didn't need friends, and he agreed, clarifying that he still felt the same way. He knew that Umi was the daughter of Mikado's top aides and should keep their distance. He stated that he couldn't just pretend that he didn't see it. Umi was confused, and he asked how he could ignore how much she was hurting. He clarified that he owed her, and wanted to be someone she could rely to. Umi froze for a second, and didn't say anything at all. She laughed and asked what he was doing, and he was confused why she was laughing. She explained that it was funny, and that was what friends do. She called him a kind of weirdo, and that made him confused. She laughed continuously and stated that he had never had a real friendship before. So, she thanked Yoichi and she felt a lot better, which he ordered her to hurry up and go home. She teased him by calling him an angel who doesn't want friends but wants to help and asked if he really wanted to hear her story. He got annoyed and told her not to call him weird stuff, which Umi asked where she should start. Yoichi went silent as he heard it. Umi decided to give in and asked if she should start from the beginning of her past. From the past, she turned 5 and 3 of them looked devastated. Kaito's world had collapsed. Capital Society, once the strongest and largest organization in Japan for 3 generations, was defeated by the First Renewal Society. Kaito, who had been the chairman, became the Kanto head OG, the new one group, and had no choice but to serve the First Renewal Society until his death. A sense of guilt for not being able to protect what had been passed down for generations, and a sense of loss from having Capital Society, pride and identity taken away. A sense of helplessness with no way to resist, and those emotions eventually turned into anger and besians, and were directed at them, his children. Umi had 2 brothers and 1 sister. She has 2 older brothers, the eldest son named Natsum Hiroto and the second son named Natsum Minato, and both over 10 years older than her. Kaito tried to raise her brothers to become the leaders of the new one group. Kaito's lingering hope was that of his sons, who carried the blood of Capital Society, became the top of the new one, it would lead to the revival of Capital Society. However, Kaito slapped Hirito, calling him a worthless failure since her brothers were unable to meet her father's expectations. Kaito asked what he had just said, and Hiroto begged to stop. Hiroto started to shake and explained he was scared of both being hurt and hurting others as he decided to follow a different path than his. Due to stress and desperation, Kaito gritted his teeth as he couldn't believe what he had just said. He told Hiroto to get out and got beaten up so bad, as his blood spilled on the floor. At the hospital, the doctor announced that his test results were severe. He explained that his heart is weaker than average, and it's only functioning at about 1/3 the capacity of a normal heart. The doctor stated that Minato barely manages daily life, which made Kaito disappointed. Umi recalled that Kaito called his brothers defectives. They were driven out of the house. With both sons cast out, the only one left was his 7-year-old daughter, while Umi was kicked by Kaito. Umi begged to stop for today, as her whole body hurts, and Kaito disagreed, saying she shouldn't be soft at her age. A boy could easily handle this training. He informed her that she was the eldest daughter of the Capital Society, and that was her burden to bear. He ordered her to stand up, which made Umi feel scared and know what would happen to her since her brother had been kicked out. As he grabbed her hair, he told her he was going to beat that rotten attitude out of her that thinks crying will solve anything. She was far too young to bear the burden of her father's obsession. She knew she was weak. She was punished and got kicked in snowy weather, and felt like giving up on the ones who supported her. While Umi was crying, someone called her from a distance and caught her attention. Her 2 brothers told her to come closer to them. Hiroto and Minato are at the corner bringing her something. As she received the gift, Umi was surprised it was a bag of assorted cookies. Hiroto asked how the taste of his cookies was, and expressed that he had just learned to make them. Hiroto announced that he would open a bakery and feed her sweets every day, which made Umi excited. Umi felt sad and hoped that Kaito would give them tasty food too. She started to cry and reveal that Kaito would give her gross food and hit her every day. She hated Kaito so much, she even told him it hurt, but he didn't stop. Minato called her and told that he had a dream as well. He revealed that he was going to become a doctor so he could heal her when Kaito hit her, and Umi responded that she wouldn't have to be in pain anymore, which Minato agreed. Minato hugged her tightly, assuring her that they would make her happy. They hugged each other, and he suggested that she hold up a little longer, which Umi agreed. Umi found out that the 2 of them had been kicked out with nothing to their name. Minato and Hiroto cried as they apologized to Umi. She knew they'd been suffering too, but they always kept apologizing to her. She waves her hands and bids farewell to her brothers. They bid farewell as well, and since that day she knew that her brother always put her first. She stated that they still apologize every time they meet, saying she had a hard life because of them. She told her brothers to blame their father, since they didn't do anything wrong and they were victims as well. She decided to attend this high school year by herself and didn't want to waste her talent. Yoichi was amused that she had a close bond with her brothers. She agreed and expressed that it was the reason why she was so mad. She stated that Jin insulted her brothers by calling them defective bastards. She wished that he could shut Jin up at the exchange event, and he asked if she could do it, which she wasn't sure about as she felt the overwhelming difference in power. She didn't expect the gap between their class and Class B to be that huge, as she realized why she failed the recommendation exam. He agreed and asked if she was still planning to charge headfirst. Umi agreed and explained that running away would just be a shame for her. He suggested she not worry much and assured her that she had him and Ikari. She stated that there was no point if she didn't shut Jin up with her power. She ordered him to leave Jin to her, which Yoichi agreed to and complimented her confidence. She stated that once she helps out the future student council president, she gonna be take down the rising star from South Wine Society with ease. She explained that she just wanted to pay back her brothers, into tears of joy and happiness, as she planned to cut ties with Kaito and the Capital Society. Umi instructed him that once she became the president, he must put a lot of allowance money aside, and Yoichi agreed to it. As Yoichi stood up, he told her they could discuss that when the time comes. He suggested putting first the important thing to deal with, as he raised his hands to her. Umi smiled and expressed that she felt they had gotten a little closer today, and asked if she could call her a friend now. He disagreed and assured her that they were still comrades. She laughed at what he just said. She expressed that she was delighted that someone like her, who used to crawl at rock bottom, has been accepted as a comrade. Umi finally accepted his offer, since it was a huge step forward for them. He knew the reason why she resents her father and the Capital Society, or he was moved by her determination. He was glad as he felt the presence of her was dependable, and pondered that maybe they could become good friends. He wasn't sure about it yet, but from this day on, a future deeply entangled WTH Capital Society awaited them. That's all for today, and if you want the next part, leave a comment and hit the like button. Thank you and see you on my next upload.